Hi, I'm Peter Bushby, and thanks for dropping in to view some output from my MA Photography final project, looking at Islam and Christianity through my own lens. I'm going to share some images in silence just to make sure I don't lead your thoughts. Then I'll go through them again with a brief commentary, and my only hope is that the images lead your thoughts somewhere that's valuable to you. It would be great if you could share your thoughts as comments once you finish viewing. Thank you and enjoy. The icon is pretty and no doubt meant more to a young baby than the words, but the prayer has reassured me throughout my life. Whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me. Mark 9:37. The hands at Woodbridge Quay Church represent giving and receiving on several levels in our relationships with one another and with God. Both Muslims and Christians can relate to it. Hold fast to Allah. He is your protector, and excellent is the protector, and excellent is the helper. Quran, the Pilgrimage, 78. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. Isaiah 41:13. When I hit the rock bottom of a double addiction, God shone light into my darkness and into that of others who only knew him as a benign higher power. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23:4. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of daybreak from the evil of that which he created and from the evil of darkness when it settles. Quran, Daybreak 1-4. Those of any faith can find their way blocked, and some fall away. Adam and Eve disobeyed what God told them in person. The Quran, Taha 121, the Bible, Genesis 3:6. And fear of the wind made Peter falter even whilst he was walking towards Jesus. Bible, Matthew 14:30. Atrocities committed in God's name test our faith. A terrorist bomb killed 13 Londoners on a bus at Tavistock Square Gardens on July the 7th, 2005. Following further terrorist incidents in 2017, more than 200 imams refused to say funeral prayers for the attackers. Qari Asim, imam at the Makkah Mosque in Leeds, called the attackers criminals not welcome in our community, in life or in death. Anglicans and Catholics are not immune from extremism. 11 men and 2 women were burned at the stake together for their Protestant beliefs at Stratford on the 27th of June 1556 during the Marian persecutions. In the English Reformation, Catholics were likewise executed at Tyburn. Hospital chapels are multi-faith havens from the storms of uncertainty that patients, visitors and staff find themselves in. I've sat praying for my wife's health in one of the chairs in Colchester Hospital Chapel, whilst a Muslim reverently prayed at the other end of the room. Ipswich Hospital Chapel has more informal seating. Posters signal that all faiths are welcome. A prayer tree displays prayer requests, whilst messages of hope are collected on a notice board. In Clacton Hospital Chapel, a Madonna and Child acknowledges both Christians and Muslims because Mary, Mariam, has a whole surah or chapter of the Quran named after her. That is Jesus, the son of Mary. Quran, Mary 15. In many mosques, women enter the prayer room separately, allowing separate ablution rooms, and pray in a separate section at the back. Christian congregations are not separated by gender. This shot looks into the women's space in the Cambridge Central Mosque prayer room from the men's section. Catholics genuflect before entering church and then take time to quietly make peace with God before Mass, as this parishioner at St. Sabrina's Roman Catholic, Brightlingsea, is doing. Note the church is not ornate, and that religious furniture is covered because it is the last week of Lent. Prayer rooms, such as this at Cambridge Central Mosque, are devoid of seating, except for that provided for the infirm, because prayer includes kneeling and prostration. Muslims pray 5 times a day. Muhammad being reported to have said in a hadith, "Consider if there was a river by your door, and you washed yourself in it 5 times a day, would there remain any filth?" They said, "No, none of the filth would remain." He said, "That is what the 5 prayers do. Allah wipes sins by them." The East London Mosque shoe rack outside the prayer room shows that Muslims remove their shoes before prayer. God told Moses to remove his sandals when he was standing on holy ground, Acts 7:33, and Quran, Taha 12. Christians, though, mostly wear shoes in church. The ablutions room at the East London Mosque is where Muslims clean the dirt of the world off their exposed skin before entering the prayer room. When you rise to perform prayer, wash your faces and your forearms to the elbows, and wipe over your heads and wash your feet to the ankles. Quran, the table spread, 6. The keys of paradise are prayer, and the keys of prayer are purification. From a hadith. Here a Methodist minister prepares for Holy Communion. Like St. Sabrina's Roman Catholic, the Methodist Church is functional rather than aesthetically pleasing. This multi-purpose space can serve as a children's table, a private prayer space, possibly a group prayer meeting, maybe a confessional. The curtain provides privacy from the organist. Abraham is an important prophet in both Christianity and Islam. This view is from the pulpit at Tendring Church, showing the Bible open at Genesis 22, the story of Abraham preparing to sacrifice his son. Christians believe they're saved by Jesus' sacrifice, and in remembrance of this drink wine and break bread, which Roman Catholics believe actually becomes the blood and flesh of Christ. The blessed bread and wine is holy, treated with due reverence, and any remaining must be completely consumed by the priest. Here a Methodist minister, presiding over a simpler Methodist communion service, signals its importance by wearing a colourful robe and carrying a Bible. This intentionally blank image reflects that Muslims do not believe in the divinity, nor the death, nor the resurrection of Jesus. They believe that Jesus is Allah's creation, not his son. They believe in salvation by Allah's mercy and judgment, not by Christ's sacrifice. Therefore, there is no communion nor mass in Islam. Sometimes we may feel unworthy or insufficient to move God's heart by our own prayers. It is okay for Muslims and Christians to beseech God directly, or to ask others to pray with them or for them. However, we must beseech nobody but God for miracles of their own making, as that is a path that leads to deification rather than sanctification. Catholics and Anglicans sometimes pray by lighting candles, as here. East London Mosque is sandwiched between the London Islam Centre and an Ibis budget hotel. It used to be a synagogue and is a huge force for good in the Tower Hamlets community and beyond. Clacton Mosque is less salubrious, perhaps, but just as devout. The notice in the door is a quote reminding those entering that Islam says they must pray 2 rakas, or prayer cycles before sitting. At first glance, the cross on the new playground erected by the local council seems to echo the cross in the window of Great Bentley Methodist Church. A closer look shows that it could be taken as a Crusader shield. I'm sure the designer never thought how a young Muslim mother might feel bringing her children to play here. The face-to-face exhibition experience includes a 15-minute artist's talk, followed by 1 3/4 hours of discussion group time. These 4 were so engaged I almost had to throw them out. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it leaves you feeling at peace. Thank you once again.